there lurking. He will now be the main man for Total Energy, with Peter Sagan having climbed off. Coming up to that steepest section here at 13% for the penultimate time. And a move going on the left-hand side. Looks to be Groupama FDJ launching it.
Yeah, David Gaudu is on the attack now for Groupama. Immediate Jumbo-Visma getting involved, also AG2R, so wasn't the best position for Gaudu, but he used the gap on the left-hand side to accelerate over.
Yeah, had a long way to come, didn't he, before he even was able to break out from the peloton there.
Yeah, he came with momentum, which sometimes is good, especially if they kind of slow up a little bit, but you know, he has to use, you know, the parts of this course to his advantage.
He has pedigree in one-day racing, remember. Liège-Bastogne-Liège on the podium as we see Thomas with his job done. Also at the back there, Michael Cherel. David Gaudu, the man from Brittany in northwest France, attacking this race in Quebec. 15 kilometers to go. We know he's strong. We mentioned he'd been on the podium in Liège before. He has a fast finish too. And look at this gap. There's a little bit of hesitation here. Now a move on the right-hand side. Looks to be one of those darker jerseys, either Ineos or DSM. It's the latter. And it looks to be Bardet.
Bardet, I was about to say that. One French rider goes up the road and another.
None of them seem to be Michael Matthews chasing. I think Matthews was in that group there with Girmay, but we'll wait to get confirmation, and look who's riding at the front. It's Wout van Aert.
So Honoré, it's up there for a quick step as well.
Left-hand side, this is Schmidt. Approaching the final 10 kilometres, we're on to the last lap and into the park for the last time in this race. Been a long 3-year wait to have it back, and it really has sprung into life in this final couple of laps. Still opportunity for anything to happen if there's a bit of hesitation, but I think we've seen who's strong here, Connor.
Yeah, well, Van Aert really saw the danger there, didn't he? Didn't quite like that group that was just starting to get too far ahead for his liking. He jumped across in a matter of moments, joined by Christophe Laporte. It's this descent I imagine he was nervous of, because you let a gap go too much here and you're left with too much work to do to jump across. I think it's going to come back together here.
Brian, we just saw Pogacar on the radio. We saw Schmidt on the radio, maybe asking for a bit of advice.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The riders have to think for themselves now, because there's no way picking everything up here, when to ride, what to ride. But Michael Matthews has made it back up now. He's on the right-hand side now, so he's coming back up at the right time. But Christophe Laporte and Wout van Aert decided not to kind of push on. It was too big a group there. It has regrouped, as Connor said, and this is an opportunity to try and get organised again.
And once again, it's Groupama FDJ. Once more, it looks like David Gaudu.
Jumbo-Visma straight on it again. And not letting anything go without one of their riders present.
They have decent numbers still left, and this is once more Christophe Laporte. What a year he's had.
Well, that's Storer.
That's Storer, yeah.
Time.
That was Storer this time.
I think Venturini is there for AG2R as well. So it's a time where you can lose the race now, but just look at the numbers of the yellow jerseys towards the front of Jumbo-Visma. They're on everything.
And they made sure they're in this move, and this is where the other teams are forced to chase now, Connor.
Yeah, full stang as well for Israel. He was just in that move and he sat up, didn't follow this one through, and then you can see how the riders behind have all just kind of not looked to follow it, and the gap's opening up right now.
A little bit of hesitation there before Honoré decided finally to come through and ride.
Yeah, he's got Van Hooydonk there. It looks like Paulus Storer now, but yeah, it's still. I think everything will come back before we turn left. It's all going to be about position. We're still going to see quite a sizable group hitting the bottom of the climb.
Laporte now back in the peloton after chasing that first move. Hoiku did a great job on that last wheel in the yellow here. Thor the man wheel for the French team, Groupama for Hoydonk. Very solid Belgian rider who gets better and better almost with every pedal stroke he takes as a pro. He's there in the yellow. This is their gap. One long line chasing. UAE now committed to chase. Storer, who's managed to get himself out of this gap.
Yeah, just a case of with Van Hooijdonk there. Storer decided to put the pressure on, and Honoré just let the gap go. So, but I still think it will all come back together before we turn left onto the steep section.
I think Van Hooijdonk's almost thinking about getting back to the...
A couple of riders from Trek at the front. Girmay returns on the right hand side as well for Andermatt. Into the final 5,000 metres, most of which are uphill to the line in Quebec City. Michael Storer was climbing up mountains for fun this time last year at the Vuelta España. Today, it's a rather shorter climb, but I don't even think he's going to be taking it on before this lot behind. They're chasing him down, they're hunting him down. It's the fight for the position at the bottom of the climb to the line that is bringing this back, that does bring it back. It's Trek Segafredo, Jumbo-Visma, and all the rest fighting for that position. It is the big final fight for the line, Brian.
Yeah, it is, and Stuyven doing a great job here. I thought he might have been one of the kind of protected riders for Trek Segafredo, but he is doing his team duty now and doing it very well. But just look at the yellow jerseys he queued up behind. Girmay of Intermarché being moved up as well. So very important about positioning. But I think it's Tom Squeens that's sitting in the second place.
Tom Squeens, of course, has been resident at times in North America. The USA, just south of the border from here. Former Latvian champion, riding for the US team, Segafredo. First turn takes them to the right, and each time they take that first position here as they go to the left, approaching now that final left turn up the hill. If you're further behind, there's that extra little bit of a gap that you have to close. HAGER Citroën and Benoit Kuznefroy towards the front. Otto Sonder, who's behind him.
Stand the Wolf as it hits the bottom of the climb, but it's a Jumbo-Visma that take this up.
Squeens sitting in second wheel. Girmay's better placed this time, but starting to drift. Van Aert stays there with Michael Matthews on his wheel. 3.5 kilometres to go now, and onto that hellish gradient here, Connor.
Yeah, this is the real steep part of this climb, and it's where the difference is going to be made. If you're looking to get an early attack in here and get away from the likes of Van Aert, now is the moment. But Jumbo-Visma in control. They're putting down the power. Van Aert beautifully placed in fourth position. I think that's Sepp van Mark as well for Israel on Michael Matthews' wheel.
Sepp van Mark is wonderfully placed as Yates moved up on that far side.
Yeah, he made a big effort there to move out of position at the bottom. Can't see many of his teammates to help him. He's had to do quite a bit on his own, so making that effort might pay for it in a little bit. But Kuznefroy is up there, ready to pounce as well. So a lot of the favourites well towards the fore now.
Greg Van Avermaet, I should say, sits on the wheel of Biniam Girmay. Movistar, after committing all that to the chase, don't have a rider in the top 20 here. Matthews is alone, but his team's worked hard today. He's waiting, watching, sticking like glue to the wheel of the big favourite, Wout van Aert. Matthews, remember, looking to make it a hat-trick here. He's won the last 2 editions.
Also, a couple of teammates of Intermarché helping out Girmay. A couple of pink jerseys as well. Camp comes up for Trek Segafredo.
Big job, big 2.5 kilometres to go. Remember, it's 3 steps up to the top with that final climb coming inside the final kilometre.
The thing is, for Michael Matthews, he knows how to win this race. He's done it twice. He knows how to ride this sprint, and he's choosing to use Wout van Aert and Jumbo-Visma to his advantage.
Mohoric now moving up too on the right as we look at it. Paulus moving back into position as well. They all watch, they all wait, and that's a great job done by Tosh van der Sande.
Here we go.
But as soon as that control goes, it's left down to Kuznefroy to have a go, and those who can to chase. Valde is doing that as well as he can.
Doesn't have the legs, but in the left-hand side, Jumbo-Visma coming up, and looks as if this could be Baggioli now for Quick-Step.
Baggioli's been hanging around in the group. Kuznefroy, with 2 kilometres to the finish, has put in a big move there. He has a little bit of gap, but some of the big favourites wait, keep their powder dry.
Laporte, I think, for Jumbo-Visma trying to close this, and he needs to do so because Kuznefroy gets away here, he's gone. Only 1.7 kilometres to go. Bernal will be sitting back in that bunch.
He's hanging on here, isn't he? But it's the effort he's making now. When he turns right into that last kilometre and it rises all the way up, that's where he's going to feel the legs.
We watch. There's a UAE rider in there. Remember, Ulissi in that team as well as Pogacar today. And 1.3 Ks from the line. It goes uphill once more. It's still going to go downhill once again before they get that final climb to the line. And Benoit Kuznefroy is riding brilliantly today. But they still have him in their sight. And remember, we've seen this finish line 16 times today, Brian Smith. It goes on forever and ever.
It is. And the effort he's making at the moment, and he has to, he's fully committed to this. But looks like Baggioli and Christophe Laporte, but I think they could be joined by some other riders now.
Demarche is sending a rider up towards the front. Biniam Girmay, by the way, sitting back in the group alongside Van Aert, alongside Matthews. Into the final kilometre here for Benoit Kuznefroy. If he pulls this off from here, it will be a wonderful ride. There is so much more firepower to come from behind.
Yeah, he's hanging on with the skin of his teeth. Christophe Laporte couldn't close that one down, so it just goes to show you how hard that Kuznefroy is going now. He sees the finish in front of him, but it's a long way.
HAGER Citroën recently had their 500th win as a team since they began their existence in the 1990s. It would be one of their very best if they could pull it off here. But there's so much going on here behind, even though we're approaching now the final 500 metres. In fact, they're inside the final 500 metres, and the chase does come from behind now. Those who are after it are going to have to look out for it themselves, because this is wonderful from Kuznefroy, who looks behind. He's got to look forward. He's got to keep going. They've hesitated, and it's looking good, this for Kuznefroy. All of a sudden, he's maintained the advantage. He looks ahead. From behind, they don't have the power, and Benoit Kuznefroy is going to pull off one of the best wins we have ever seen from a rider from HAGER Citroën. He's got to hang on to the effort. 100 metres to go. He can look around. He can celebrate. And Benoit Kuznefroy takes one of the wins of his career. He's beaten Van Aert and the rest. Hesitation behind, and HAGER Citroën have their win. Matthews with a second place. Third goes to Girmay. Then Van Aert. Benoit Kuznefroy springing a surprise and winning as racing returns to Quebec.
What a win, what an effort there, and what an attack. That was absolutely brilliant.
He earned that big time. You know, there's a lot of riders left in his wake there, and you know, when you consider Christophe Laporte and Baggioli, you know, tried to go across, couldn't make it. Other riders tried, but you know, it's a ballsy move when you do that from that distance, and you have to give your hat off to him. You know, close finish with Matthews, Girmay and Van Aert, but just when we thought that Jumbo-Visma were well in control of this, that was some effort there. You know, all the way he was given 100%. I thought he'd come into that finishing straight and die. Honoré was the rider trying to come across to him. No one could get near him, and he really deserved that victory.
67 days of racing this season. Victory number one. He's waited, he's toiled, almost limped around France without really showing his... Now looks like a man to follow as we go to the big event in just a week's time. He has timed his run brilliantly today, surprising all of us. That is a wonderful win. And Benoit Kuznefroy victorious in Quebec. Well, this time last year he got his first ever World Tour win. This is his first win outside of his nation. A I'd go as far as to say with who he's beaten, that is the biggest victory of his career, Brian.
Yeah, by far. But it's the way he took it. You know, head and shoulders above everybody else. Close sprint, but Matthews and Girmay and Van Aert. But yeah, it just goes to show you can be favourite in the race, the strongest team. The thing is, Laporte and Baggioli weren't closing at all on Cosnefroid. It was an incredible performance he put in there. Well deserved and outstanding. When you're looking at him, it's not one of these smooth looking riders. He was giving everything in the end, and thoroughly deserved that with a fourth in the Tour de Dubs recently, so he got a third there, and what Van Aert not on the podium.
Girmay coming good. Matthews up there ahead of a home worlds. Julien Alaphilippe had that injury, didn't he, at the Vuelta España the other week. It's up in the air as to whether he's going to the Worlds to defend his title. Tried to do a Sagan and win 3 in a row. Thomas Vauclair might be smiling seeing this, though, the national selector in France, because it's not all Alaphilippe.
Yeah, I think Cosnefroid, I've not really kind of looked at the top 3 there.
Benoît Cosnefroid wins the Grand Prix Cycliste de Québec ahead of Michael Matthews and Biniam Girmay. Wout van Aert is 4th. Ivan Garcia Cortina picks up points as well up there for Movistar in 5th place, with Honoré, Yates, Bettiol, Ulissi and Barguil rounding out the top 10 that doesn't include Tadej Pogacar.
Cosnefroid, the way he kept it going, others tried to get near him and they got absolutely nowhere near him. You know, taking him out, this is where it normally happens, behind, you know, the sprints for the victory. And you know, he was up the road, he was gone. It was Honoré and Bettiol that kind of tried to close him down on the finishing straight, but strong finish there from Michael Matthews.
Here's the winner.
Benoît Cosnefroid, vainqueur du Grand Prix.